Good morning, everyone. So this morning I will do a review for the new Diamond Press dual tip alcohol ink markers. These were sent free of charge from my review, and all opinions are my own. And any links I have in the description box will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. They did send these stamp sets that are kind of something that coordinates back to the markers, so you can kind of start playing and things. But unfortunately, I did check HSN this morning, and one of the sets sold out, and I did get in on the very last bit of Beth's sneak peek. Beth Kingston, she is the lady you'll see on I was gonna say Saturday Night Live on HSN, and she had mentioned that the stamp sets were not in a huge abundance of them, so she was warning they probably would sell out, and one of them has. So I'll show you the one that sold out. I'll use the other one for today's review, and we'll talk about the pens in more detail. I did show them a little sneak peek when I reviewed the Your Possum set, the slimline die, which was super cute. You guys are loving that. And then it came with that long folder. And having questions about the long folders, they will be selling packs of refill long folders like this one here. Oh, sorry, Diamond Press will. Not quite yet though. So I will definitely let you guys know. Of course, if I see them, I will alert you, because I know we want to get lots of those. Sorry about that. Okay, so they did come in a box. I took them out a while ago because I did get these pretty early, and just to try them out. And so I've already worked with them a little bit. So they are, again, 40 markers, dual tipped. And let's talk about that for a second, because I had mentioned in the other video that Diamond Press had asked, like, what would I look for in an alcohol ink marker? And I said that I was laughing because it's true. The first thing I said was a brush tip. It has to have a brush tip. And then the second tip, because I know if they were going to make them dual-ended, I didn't know. I said it would be like a bullet tip, I suppose, but not the sketch one, because that's thick, big sketch one. Like, I've never used it on any of my markers that have that. Never, other than moving boxes with a big Sharpie that has that big tip, you know. So, for me, it's that brush, and it's a bullet, or the little smaller one that's more for detail. So when these came in and I opened it, I was like, yes, because I saw exactly that. So let me just open one up. So let's look at them real quick. They look like this. The barrel is kind of triangular, as you can see there. You can put it down. They shouldn't roll too much. I mean, they have a little, because they're a little rounded, but you can just put them down and they should stay there for you. So let's talk about these tips. So again, the brush tip. And there it is. And I mentioned it's a little thicker, a little maybe longer than other brush tips. At least it seems like. And I've worked with several different types of alcohol ink markers, so I'm pretty familiar. But this one just seems thicker. And it's a little bit firmer. It's still nice, that tip right there you can get in for detail. And of course, we'll do that when we go to color. But it's a little bit firmer than you would expect. But it still has that flex. Again, like I said, we'll talk about that in just a minute, but here I have a little scrap paper we can kind of use. So hopefully you can see, I mean, I can still like go from very thin to thicker. It just depends on how you use it. And I don't use these for writing, but I'm just saying, if you have a little small area that you want to start coloring and then go into something bigger, or your flicks, right? You can do that, however it is that you want to do it. So, and then the other thing and these are the kind of things I noticed, like this barrel or the cap, and as you can see, it's very smooth in there. So when you go to put it away, you're not going to like poke it. A lot of times companies will do it where they have like a separate part that you're supposed to really get in there. So if you don't, you're going to scrape it. I hope that makes sense. So this is very nice and smooth, and it just puts away, and you're not going to mess up your nib. And on the other side, it has that little gray line. That little gray line lets you know that's the fine side. It's a bullet. It's not super small bullet, but it's a nice size. And these are firm, super firm. So, when you go to use them, they're just a little firmer. And it's just a different way of putting down the color. And again, you can get it really tiny or however you need. So I really, really appreciate that. And always put your lids back on nice and tight with any alcohol ink markers, as they can dry out because they're alcohol ink, right? You can revive them. I've noticed this with other markers in the past, so all you have to do is put a little bit of actual just alcohol in them. The higher proof, the better. Like, I'm not talking about drinking alcohol, I'm talking about isopropyl, like rubbing alcohol, like 90%. Like a higher percentage is better, but if you only have regular alcohol, you can try it. And that's just a tip in case you have a little boo-boo somewhere. But always put your tips back on. And let's look a little bit about the pens themselves. So let me grab this one, and this one. As far as blending, you always want 2 or 3 colors, really 3 colors, right, is what people go for. when you want to have a nice blend in your colors. Now, like I said, I'm not like the guru on coloring. I'm not the master class teacher here, but I like to put down a little color and it looks nice, and you know, people I don't think, oh, what is that, you know? So just what I know. What I like is that they all have a color family. So this is pink, let's say, or color name. This one's pink. So we have pink light, pink medium, right? MED, and then pink dark. And so they would go like that, right? Something like that. And then you have your blends of, you know, you blend them out. And of course, while we work with them, we'll talk more about that. But let's say like violet. So we have violet light, violet medium, violet dark. And as you can see, the color on the cap, like this one, did I get the right one? Yeah. It looks way different from the others, but you'll see on these little charts how we can look at that, or why that is. So they're all like that. And then, oh, yes. There's a black. I don't know how many kits I've purchased in the past years that don't have a black marker or a black pen. A lot of times you'll do is use gray and go to the darkest gray, and then hopefully that'll be dark enough. So I did do a blending, a little chart. I didn't name them though, so I should have done that, but I can pretty much tell which ones they are. Again, there are 40 pens, and then you have like your blues and your teals and your greens and browns and gray, 2 types of gray, a cool gray and a warm gray, which is really great. I think some of these look like the warm gray, like for a little animal, like I use for the cat. You know, your cool grays are more for accent pieces, things like that. Shadow, things like, you know, background kind of colors, in my opinion. We have the yellow green. So let me show you. I'm really excited about black though, because like I said, a lot of times it doesn't come with that. It does come with this paper here that has marker tips, and it just talks a little bit about the markers, and then it has the blends here. So you can see that. And these are the blends that I just did a little swatch card, and I did this, I want to say maybe almost 2 months ago. A month and a half, I don't know. And the colors are still pretty vibrant, and as you can see, the different blends, right? So again, you're gonna work with them however you can. Some are very gradual, and some are a little more stark, right, the blend. But you can check that out. And there's pretty much, those are the different color families, the color palette that's in here, which is really pretty. I think it's really nice for like flowers and the kind of things that we like, right? And then you have your basic colors that really help basically make any kind of card that you're thinking about doing. Okay, so some of the stamp kits. So we're going to open these up. This one is called While About You, and this is the one that unfortunately I think sold out already. Like I said, I'll have the links for everything. The other thing I have left to review is the interactive wheel, the little messages, and it is super cute. I know you guys have seen it if you watched Beth, or if you follow Diamond Press on their newsletter. It is super adorable. I'll show you that in just a second. But this set, yeah, unfortunately it's sold out already. So I'm not in, you know, it's not urgent that I try these guys out. I will do another video for that, maybe, you know, in the next coming days. But really cute set. It had all these little animals. But again, like I said, it just sold out. So here we go. Let me show it real quick. Oh, and the hearts sold out too. And what's funny, when I gave you guys a heads up that the markers were in stock, I said, oh, they look familiar, the hearts. I'm like, I have to look through my stash. It's because I did a giveaway of them like at the beginning of the year, last year. And I was like, no wonder they look familiar. I didn't have them to give them away, but Diamond Press offered it. So I had an image of them, and that's why they look familiar to me. But all right, we have our stamp sets here. Super cute. And then one that is still available is this one here. It is Rain or Shine. And I will use this one. And what's funny, in my head, I was already planning to use this one, and it just worked out that the other one sold out. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, here we go. And part of that reasoning is that, yes, people said, oh, they don't have dies. No, they don't have dies. They're a stamp set, like other stamp sets you would pick up, like some great pricing. But for me, this one is very easy. If you want to fussy cut this one, I would just fussy cut this and pop it up. So I think that's probably what we're going to do, is just make it a little dimensional on the umbrella part. And I think that'll be fun. So we have a rainbow. It's a really nice size. I know sometimes it's hard to tell the sizing, especially when you see an image like on HSN, but it's like 3.5 inches by 2 1/4-ish. Good size. And then we have our little umbrella. Lots of sentiments, wishing you a rainbow of happiness. Happy birthday, sunshine. I love you, rain or shine. No matter the weather, we're friends forever. That's sweet. Sorry you're feeling under the weather, of course. Wishing you brighter days. Showered with love, let's weather it together. Hello sunshine, and every cloud has a silver lining. Super cute. And then obviously the little other pieces that kind of go with it, and the little, more like a parasol looking umbrella. And then all the different pieces that you can go back into the umbrella to make it have like texture and stuff. Really cute. We have the polka dots and the little stripes. And so I'll be using that. I'm going to grab some paper that receives alcohol ink markers. So I know a lot of people are new, and sometimes we'll go over things, and I don't go that in depth because I just figure people know about that. Your paper cannot just be any regular old paper, like if you went to Michael's and picked up Recollections paper, or Hobby Lobby's even extra, like their heavy duty paper. It's not the same, and I'll show you that. I'll try to grab just a piece of regular paper. You need a nice heavy duty like marker paper. It's usually something that's like ultra smooth. And the thickness isn't the biggest deal, because I've had papers that are thin that it just has to be marker paper, or paper that accepts marker really well, and that doesn't feather or bleed. So, you know, Crafter's Companion stamping card I like, of Nina Solar White. It's something you can probably find even, they were selling it at Walmart even. It's not hard to find these papers, it's just you want to get a good paper, or a paper that works for you. If you have something and it works, great, use it, you know. So I'll talk a little more about that in a minute, but let me grab some paper. I did want to show you really quickly the interactive wheel set. Like I said, it has not hit the site yet. Of course, you know, I record and then things change, but any link that's active I will have in the description box. But let's look at this really quickly. So we have our pieces here to make, oh, I love the little camera. Oh, okay. So we have our pieces here to make this interactive wheel set, but I'll show you, hopefully on here you'll have an idea of what it does if you haven't seen it. So look at this, and this is going to be an auto ship. So the first one has the typewriter, which I collect vintage typewriters, and I have probably 15 of them. They're all around, and some do look like this, so I think that's super cute. And then the Polaroid, and I have my original Polaroid, so I think that's just really funny. Sweet. So we have our instructions. I just want to get to maybe if there's, like a little image of what it might look like when you're done. And then you turn the little wheel, and the little sentiments come up. And this one, somebody had mentioned, like, oh, I hope they have more, like, you know, languages basically and stuff like that on their card. Look at this. Bonjour, we have je t'aime, ciao, ni hao. Oh my gosh. So cute. I mean, gracias, hola. There's, you know, all kinds of stuff. Danke, grazie. There's, yes, I'm very worldly, I know, you guys. No, I'm just kidding. Wo ai ni, which is, I believe, Chinese. Is it? Which I think means I love you? Maybe I'm not that worldly. Okay. So let me see. Let me grab some paper and we'll get started. Okay, really quickly before we start, I just have some papers here. This happens to be Nina Solar White that I already tried something on, so this is just a little scrap of paper, but you can see it's not the thickest one. They have thicker weight. This is like 80 pound. This is some of that Crafter's Companion stamping card, and you see it's much thicker, closer to 300 GSM. And then I grabbed some of that cheap Hobby Lobby paper, but this, I don't think this is the one. This is very smooth feeling, so smoother papers are better. Some are better than others, okay? And hopefully you see the different colors and maybe the white or the text, like how bright they are. And this is Solar White, which is kind of interesting because this is much brighter. But there we go. And let's just say I just grabbed a couple colors. I don't know. What do I want to do? I don't know why I have these. Well, I'll grab the same color back. Okay, so let's say you have light. And I think that one's light already. Nope, maybe something else. But as you're putting down color, you know, you put it down nicely. And the more and more you put down, it should come through the back. This comes through the back pretty quickly, but that doesn't mean it's not the best paper. But if it sucks it up, or if it's just sitting on top, and you can tell it looks very watery sitting on top, and then it sucks it in, it might start feathering. So, you know, just try out the papers you have and see what happens. I went from light to dark there, so I didn't have the medium color. I'm just showing you guys kind of what this might look like. And then this is the stamping card. And I don't know. So whenever you pick up Nina, which is one of the gold standard papers for markers, make sure it's a heavy weight. Unless you're just doing a little coloring. If it's a little something, like you see that blending looks much nicer on this one. Hopefully you can see that. And this one, it's okay, but I can see that blend mark right there pretty good. Maybe it's just me. And then this is the Hobby Lobby paper. I believe. I'll have to double check. If it's not, I will let you guys know. I'll make a little note in the description box. But there's that. And I do want to show you, this goes through kind of quickly. Like, I wasn't pushing, it wasn't very much, and it went right through. And to do a good marker coloring, alcoholic marker, you do want it to go all the way through. That you saturate the paper so much that it goes all the way through. But I don't know, I just feel like this one, it might get catchy, but it's not bad. I mean, look at that. It's going to get hard to blend after that because it's so saturated. So you want something that takes a little while to soak through so you can really get your blends and everything. So, you know, you can make your determinations from there. But today I'll be using the Crafter's Companion stamping paper. And so there's that, or stamping card, I think is what they call it. It's just 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, but and I think I'm going to build up a scene and then we'll go from there. So we are going to fussy cut a little bit because I'm going to make a mask so that I can put this, do our little scene, and you know, we'll see what happens. So I think I'm going to start off with the umbrella. And the next thing we want to discuss, if you're new to this kind of thing, is that you need an ink that is alcohol ink proof. And there are others on the market, and I always forget their names or the types, so I'll have to look at that again. But for now, let's talk about hybrid inks, which, like this one, this is Jane Davenport's Squid Ink. It's a hybrid ink pad, so you can use this with water or with alcohol-based markers. This is a Nuvo Hybrid Ink pad. This is from Tonic Studios, and this is also a hybrid where you can use it with water-based items or alcohol ink-based items. I usually use, or I always use this one, but now I'm always using the hybrids. But this is the Finesse by Spectrum Noir alcohol-proof dye. This one's Noir Black. I think they might have Jet Black, but normally I pick it up in black. But they do have like Pebble or other colors that you might want to work with. And basically, just look at the the packaging if you're at the store. If you're online, just make sure you read the what it says, the description, because like things like this, like Memento. Let me see what it is. Stamped impressions, dries on all surfaces. Like on the back of this, it'll tell you here what it's good for, you know? So I was just reading this one because I believe Memento is good for alcohol ink. Don't quote me on it. It's been so long since I've used other products other than those 2 or 3, so it's been a while. And then some will tell you on there, great for watercolor, you know, that kind of thing. All right. So I'll put this aside. I'm going to use my Squid Ink. And I'm going to do this. So I'm just, like I said, going to build up a little scene. So this is kind of old school. We would do masking and things. I mean, people would still do that, but I think I'm going to put this here. Because I do need a spot to put my sentiment. So I'm kind of thinking about where I would put that down here somewhere. Okay. So that's my card base. This is 4 by 5 1/4 because I'm going to use this as the card base. So now I'm going to stamp this on a scrap paper. And it doesn't matter what paper you use, going to cut it out anyway. So just a scrap piece of paper, and I'll be right back. Okay, so to mask our guy, I just stamped it on the back of this, like I said, scrap paper. So this one's like zebra print. And we're going to cut right on the line. So when you do something called fussy cutting, and I saw that people had questions about what is fussy cutting, it just means you're cutting something out. And it has to do with even like back in the day quilting and stuff. That's what they would call it, fussy cutting. And maybe it's because it's fussy, you know, it's a little something you got to work at. You want to leave yourself like a little outline, right? So as you're cutting, you're looking at it and you're leaving yourself like a little edge. Most of the time people want to do that. And you go around and you try to leave yourself that little white edge. Hopefully you can see that. But right now, we don't want that. We want to cut pretty much right on the line because I'm making a mask out of this. So I'm going to cut, as long as it's anywhere on the line, you know, it doesn't have to be perfectly, but you want to be in that line somewhere. And this is a nice thicker line, so it's easy to do. And even with fussy cutting or with this, like I say, when you go to cut, it's good to put the pressure with this hand, like press, you know, the scissor closed, and then use your opposite hand to guide the paper, and it will just give you a nicer edges, you know, instead of having it be like if you're going around going like that, even though that was pretty good, but it'll leave like jagged, you know, edges sometimes. So just make sure to apply pressure. And then the other hand is turning my paper. Okay, and I am going to do the whole thing. I was just thinking about doing this top part for this, but I'm going to make a background. We're going to do some inking, so I really need even the handle here to be covered. So I am going to do that. I'm just going to go in here and cut it all out. Okay, right on the line. And I'll be back. Oh man, I should have had you guys with me when I cut that last piece off. It's very satisfying. It just tink, falls down and you're like, ooh. All right. So we're going to mask this. I'm masking this, and you know, Post-it sells Post-it that is all sticky on the back, like it's a whole strip and it's a big whole huge roll of it, and it has that light tack, so you can definitely stamp on it and then cut, and then when you put it down, everybody has the stickiness on the back because it's Post-it material. So it's kind of interesting. But for now, there's, you know, you can hold it, but I don't recommend that. You'd want to stick it down some way. So Pixie spray, you know, the sprays you use for stencils, things like that. I do have some removable adhesive that I think I'm just going to use. This really old school thing I have here that I bought, I don't know how long ago, very long time ago. We're not going to be super rough, but we just need it to cover and sit there, okay? So this is the part I was afraid of. I'm like, how am I going to get this on my little stick here? Not bad. Okay. But like I said, if you want to hold it, you know, that's up to you. It's much easier if you have something that help you. Stick it down, and we're just going to place this right over our little umbrella. Okay, like I said, we're not going to be super rough, so I'm keeping an eye out for that. And I'm going to get some water reactive inks, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so I'm just going to put this aside. And I always like to use my little diamond press mat, just bring it out when I have a little messiness to work on. And I have these water reactive inks. This is baby blue and ocean blue, because I want to keep it a little bit light. Obviously, if we're going to send it to somebody, I want to make it too stormy. But let me see. So I'm going to start with baby blue. Just get some on a dabber here. And just bring it in. I still hold it down because I still, you know, we don't want it to move. And I have to have a little more trust, I suppose. But I'm just being very light with this. And just putting a little here and there. I almost pick that end up. And just getting lighter at the bottom, just so it still has a little something, but not too much. And that's the baby blue. And then I'll get some of the ocean blue. This one's going to be darker. I'm going to come in off the edge. Just something like that. And since these are water reactive inks, I'm going to hit it with just a little bit of water just to activate it. And then I am going to use the little drops, so we're not going to remove our mask quite yet. This is a very fine sprayer, so I'm just going to do is take this off and actually flick water on here. And you can just do that. You don't have to use the little raindrops, but I figure let's use more of the things that are in the kit. And just let them activate a little bit. Hopefully this is clean. I know I use this all the time. You see those different colors out there. And I'll end up putting different colors here and there. Okay. Yeah, I can see I put some yellow down there. I saw that yellow on there. That's okay. Alright, I'm going to let this dry. I'm not going to remove our mask yet until we are ready to do that. And we're not ready to do that. So I'll be right back. So I hit it with a heat tool because I got to move on, but just so you can let it dry. I'm going to use these little guys, and there's a couple different raindrops, which is really nice. It's always nice to have a variation because you can use them and then they look different. Squid ink again. If you want to do this in blue to start off with, blue that doesn't, you know, run with alcohol ink, you can do that. I'm going to color them in with the markers, I think. So I think we're just going to do it that way. And so we still have our mask on here. So whenever we go and do our drops, the mask is keeping it from really getting on the umbrella. So I have a few of those done. Maybe this other style. just so you have a little different patterning. I kind of wanted to keep it up towards the top. I kind of, maybe there. And here. Okay, a little something like that. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna grab some markers. I think we're almost ready to remove our mask. Maybe we'll do the coloring first and then remove it, just so we don't mess that up. Okay, so I'll pick my little colors here. And I can tell these are like the teals, and this is the cobalt color. So I think I'm gonna use the cobalt colors, and I have the light, medium, and dark. Obviously, these are smallish things. Whenever they're smaller, I just go with, you know, 2 colors maybe. And a lot of times it's the light and the darkest one, or however. But I'm gonna start with cobalt light. And again, they are smaller. If you want to use the bullet nib side, you can come in and do that. You can use the, brush tip side, and it colors in much faster because it's larger, obviously. So that's the light, and then let me try the medium. I just did that right in the center. If I did the medium, I'll put it around the edge. And I think that's enough, you know what I'm saying? You don't need a lot of detail on these little small things like this. So hopefully you can see what I was doing. Let me do that again. And since they are small, you can do a few at a time. So like I'll probably come in here and get that one going, get this one. I'm not even blending back in. This is just something, just putting down some color, but that's how I do it. Everybody has a different style. And then I'm gonna take that medium, just go around one of the little sides. Just add a little variation in color. If you want it more in depth, use the darker color too. Or just use the darker color after we put that light one down. Okay, so I'm gonna go around and do that with all of them. And I will be right back. Okay guys, I think we're ready to remove our mask. If there's anything else that you want to do that you need the masking there for, then leave it. But I think we're good to go. So there it is. And you can do that with anything. Whatever it is, and look how pristine and white that is. Super cool. Okay, so we have a couple things we need to do to finish this up, and then I'm going to stamp this. The reason I covered it, let's say you're gonna do what I'm gonna do in the next part here. I'm gonna make another piece and let it pop up. You didn't have to mask this, but it's gonna look ugly, right? Underneath, if somebody you give it to and they see that and they're like, oh, okay, you know, you just kind of color it all over the thing. So that's why I masked it. But if you don't want to, you don't have to, you know, just mask the handle, or don't even, however you wanna do it. So I'm gonna use the black just quickly and just color this in here because it's there, and I'm not gonna take a long time to start with gray and go to black. It's fine. The handle will be black, and then this part, I think it should be like a steel color, I suppose. So let's do cool gray. Let's grab a few of those. I don't think we need all of these because it's a very small area, but let's start with the light. And I'm using the nib side. So I'm gonna color this whole thing in. And then I'll take the dark, and that's another thing. However you like to do this. If you like to start with light, go to medium, then go to dark, or go to dark, medium, then light. However, whatever order you like to work in, please do. I always go from the lightest, and then I go to the darkest under the, you know, shade. Maybe if it's something that's a little bit larger, I'll go in with the medium. This is a little bit small, but that's okay. I'll just go to the medium. And actually, I'm going to do that down here at the bottom too. So the umbrella, if you really want to put a lot of thought into it, obviously would have more shadow on the handle there, but I'm just gonna go up there. That was the dark. Here's medium. Again, this is the cool gray. And then I'll bring the fine and blend it all back out. Okay, and there's our handle. I do want this to be black though, so what I would do with that is I'm gonna start with this cool gray and medium. I'll use the brush tip, why not? So I'm using the medium one already as it is. Just go around this whole thing. And then to make something look round, you want to leave a lighter color, you know, around the center. If it's a round item, you just leave a lighter shade color around the center, like circle of it. It just depends on what you want to do. So I would do that. I'm going to go to the dark. And I'm just going to take it kind of around this bottom part here. Right? So doesn't that look a little shiny, like it was shinier in that curve area? At least it does to me, I don't know. And then I'm going to take the black. So black is black, so you want to be careful with it when you use it. But those are the three colors that I would put together to do black. Okay. And that's that. And then I'll blend it back out with the light. And you don't have to, or with the medium. But it looks nice to blend it back out. So however you want to do it. Again, trying to preserve a little bit more of that light color right at the center there. At least that's how I did it. Okay. All right. So let me put this to the side. I'm going to get another piece of paper. We're going to do our stamping to do a little something cute with the actual umbrella, and I'll be right back. Okay. So I just brought back that scrap because we don't need to waste. It's the same stamping card I use for the card base, and I'm gonna make a red umbrella. I think we all like a shiny red umbrella, don't we? So I have the red colors here. I have medium, or light, medium, and dark. All of them say red. Very easy to spot there. And I just need this top part this time, so I'm just gonna stamp that top part on the same stamping paper. You can paper piece, you can stamp that right on a paper that's already patterned and then just cut it out, and then you have the little lines on there ready to go, and it's all done because it's you used a pattern paper. But I'm going to color this, so let's stamp that. Now, if you want to stamp it right now with the little accent pieces, you can do that, of course. You know, if you want to go ahead and stamp your dots or the stripes, you know, whatever it is that you want to use. I'm just gonna eyeball this, but I'm gonna color it first. I figured, why not? I'll color it first. Well, you know, it might be hard to see if I color it first and then do this, wouldn't it? All right, fine, I'll stamp it. I'll stamp it first. I don't want to use the dots because dots are adorable. If you want to use a stamping tool, go ahead. I'm going to eyeball it, and that's just how I do that. I'll be right back. So I just went to grab this stamping tool. If you want to use a precision tool or something like that, that's great. What happens with this one from Diamond Press is that once you get close enough, you can kind of manipulate it. And I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to stick my head in the way too, guys. So I'm going to do is show you what I would normally do. I'm going to pause so I can put my head right in there, because the dots have definitely a spot where they stop. And that should be right on the line. You know what I'm saying? Those little half dots have to be pretty much right where you need them to be. So as I'm looking down, I can kind of manipulate this where I need it to be. So I will be right back once. That looks pretty good right there, doesn't it? Anyway, I'll be right back. All right, let's see how good I am at this. By putting my head down over it. I took my glasses off too. Ooh, not bad. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna let this dry for a second, and then I will come back in and we'll color it in with our red markers. Okay, so I'm gonna make this easy, I believe. So I'm gonna start with the light red. I'm gonna do the whole thing. If you want to do sections at a time, you can. I'm just gonna take my light red and color the whole thing in. And when it's a large area like this, I am doing circular motions just to get it in there. But however you like to color, that's fine. And you, like I said, if you want to do sections at a time, that's up to you. I am kind of keeping it in sections, like I stop at the lines, but I'm doing it all at once here. Oh, and don't be afraid to move your paper. You know, I hardly ever do that. Right now when I do that, I surprise myself, but move your paper. You don't have to keep it in one direction. Just always, okay, it has to be like this, you know? And I like the variation. Do you see how it already has like a little variation? Because I kind of just, the way I colored it, I like that. If you want it nice, again, do it more in a more, what's the word? Systematic way, I guess. Okay, this is the dark red. So what I would do with this, I'm not going to go in and like just color. I would bring it in on the very edge. And it is a harsh line for now. And then in these edges. And I'm being kind of delicate about it. Right, on either side of this. And at the bottom you can do that too, but for now I'm just going to keep it here. And here. Again, you want to kind of keep it light where you think your light source is coming. I didn't really pay attention to that right now. I'm not going to do anything at the bottom yet because I'm not sure what to do there yet. I'm going to do the medium. Bring a little more of that out. Now this time I'm kind of brushing it into that dark. I don't know if you can see I'm kind of blending it a little bit already. And I think I'm going to leave that middle part kind of light. So I'll do that. And then, you know, if you don't like it, you have to put down so much color, you can go over and over and over. You can do whatever you like. I'm gonna go back to the light. And what do I have the light? Okay, just want to make sure. Pull all that color back out. So I'm kind of starting in the dark area and bringing it back out. Now, if you want a super dark red, I would do more of the red, right? Bring more and more of it in. Probably do a little more in here. I think I am going to bring it out more because it's a red umbrella. Let me go back to the medium. I think that's the one I probably want to use to do this with. And then the lightest one again. So as far as putting down just a ton of color, I'll show you the back of this card in just a minute. As you can see, I didn't give it a lot of rhyme or reason. I just kind of did what I felt like. Kind of following some rules. But the back. So that middle section you can see is too light. You still need more color there. So I will do that. And that's how saturated it should be. But you see how it's taken me time to build that up? If I was on that Hobby Lobby paper or even that thinner Nina, it's already saturated. So it's going to be harder to like control or to work your blend. So I guess that was a good example of what we're doing there. So I just took the medium there. And the light again. Just keep going. And what happens is with alcohol ink markers, and you know, people who do this more often than I do could tell you, the lighter color will bleach out some of the darker color. So even though it was super dark, when you come back over the whole thing with the light color, it's bleaching that color out and making it blend much nicer. That's better. I'm happy with that. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry for a little bit. It doesn't take long, it's alcohol ink. And as it dries, the color will be more vibrant too. But all I'm gonna do again is just fussy cut this. When I come back, I'll have this cut out, but I am not going to give it a white border either. I'm still going to cut it right on the line just like we did the first time, but this time I'm cutting this whole thing out. Okay, so when I come back, I'm just having this piece cut out. Okay, just finished cutting that. I want to show you, you know, I did a pretty good job. It's a little white here, so what I would do is just take like an ink dabber, you know, with your finger, however, like a little finger dabber, get some ink. I'll just take this squid ink. You can go around the edges of your project, so then you have a nice black edge. Okay? Yeah, just to finish that off, if that's what you want to do. Alright. I'll be right back. Okay, so that's basically our card topper there, and then we need our sentiment. I did pull out the Let's Weather It Together from the kit there. And what's cute when I was looking at this is that they have these little hearts too. Wouldn't that be cute if it was raining hearts? You can put the little hearts all over the place. Super cute. Okay, so I'm just going to use this other piece of that Nina paper we started playing with. Oh, you know what? I showed you guys a little trick that if you are stamping something, I'm just going to stamp it in black, but if you scrape it across like this, or up and down, or however, it gives texture to your stamp. So let's see what it does. Aw, so you can see it in the word weather best. It's kind of like smeared up, like weathered. Kind of cool. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. I'm going to cut it out with this die from one of the nesting sets from Diamond Press. I don't believe these are available anymore on HSN. I think they sold out and they came back and they sold out and they came back. So I'm gonna cut that really quickly. And then the next one up is kind of not super bigger, but it does take up a lot of the card. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna cut this out and then I'm gonna glue it to just a little piece of red paper and just have a little border, okay, when I come back. Okay, I have all my pieces here and reaching for this glue. I just realized I don't have my coffee here. Gotta get that coffee. All right. If you guys watch my channel, you know I get up like at 5:30, 6 o'clock to start making videos before the kids and everyone else gets up, so that's how I do it. All right, this piece of paper here is cut, you know, very, very much, a little bit smaller than your standard A2 size card base. So the card base here is 5.5 by 8.5, square at 4 1/4, fold it in half. This is just a nice blue piece of paper, and I cut it at 5 and like 3/8 by 4 1/8, just smaller than this. So that's why I'm using this glue in particular, because oh, look, I can move it around. If you use the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, which I love, it will just stick and you're gonna be not too happy. And same thing with the dry adhesive runner. They're a little harder. You have to nail it pretty much when you put it down. Okay, so that's that one. The only problem with this is that it'll keep moving for a little while longer still, and I don't want to do that, but how to use it. All right, and then now I'll do this one. And again, this was at 4 by 5 1/4, so it's just a little smaller. I just want a little matting on it. There we go. Again, nice and tight, matte. So pretty. Oh, see? Tell you, it'll still move for you for a good long while. I'm gonna let this set up before I move on to the next pieces. But basically we have our little topper that we're gonna pop up. Cute. And we have our little let's weather it together. And I'll be right back. Okay, while I'm waiting for that, I was gonna take my Glossy Accents. It's the same as like this stuff, liquid glass from Close My Heart. It's just something you can add and puts a little shine on things. So I was gonna put that on my little drops. So you just take it, and if you need some, like a pokey tool to help you spread it out, you know, you kind of want it to drop it so that it stays kind of puffy. Okay, so I'm going to do that all around, and I'll be right back. Okay. So I already put a ton of little adhesives on the back of this little guy, and I'm just going to pop it on here. Again, since they are dry adhesives, they want to stick pretty much as soon as you put it down, so just be careful. That's not where I wanted. Somewhere like that. I'm not going to push it down until I'm off camera because I want to make sure to see it where it needs to be. And usually I would give it a nice press. And then that's it. So I'm just going to put this down here with a little adhesive. And I'm going to use this one just so I can flatten it out a little bit more than that top one. I wanted that to have a lot of dimension. And I'm going to put my little sentiment here. There it is. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully, you learned a few things about like masking and stuff, because even if you had a dye for something, when you do masking, you really want it really close. And I know a lot of dyes leave like a lot of kind of white space around them, so you still want to learn about masking and things like that. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll have the links in the description box. Thank you so much, Dye Impress, for saying these items for my review. You'll see the markers in action more and more clearly, because I'll be using them going forward here. But if you have any questions that I know the answer to, I will try and get that information for you, or reply really quickly with it if I know it off the top of my head. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you at the next one. Bye now.